People sometimes talk about freeing your mind and opening your mind. I started thinking that maybe I'm not as free as I might want to be. What if I'm not even free to have the thoughts that I want to have? What would it be like to feel free to have the thoughts that naturally come up out of my own mind? It sounds ridiculous, and yet I don't know that I actually do feel free to have those thoughts. I believe there might be a lot that I am suppressing, in other words, pushing down or repressing or pushing away or pushing down or somewhere away from my conscious experience, like hidden, like these thoughts are hidden. And it just makes me think, like, what if we're as human beings able to have a very beautiful and vast array of different kinds of thought processes that are so unfamiliar to what we're used to? And maybe all that programming that happened as children when we were in school or through religion or maybe through the government and rules and regulations and laws. It seems as though all of those rules were about what we are allowed to say or do or think and what is not acceptable. So, what if the programming has made us into very narrow versions of what we might otherwise be? Why is it so scary to even talk about this? What are these thoughts, if there are any thoughts that are hidden or dark or things that we don't talk about? I mean, actually, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, the fact that pornography, right? Porn on the internet is ubiquitous in the modern world. I feel like almost everyone, the majority of people, watch or have watched with some great enthusiasm and frequency, in other words, a lot, porn. And yet we don't really talk about it. It's like very hidden. It's something that we all do in secret. And we have the private browser tabs and the VPNs, even if we're really being secretive. We don't want anyone to know, right? That's just one really public common example of something that is kept under wraps. But I think it goes even deeper than that. I think it goes just to the thought level. Like, what would it be like if all the thoughts that just arise naturally can just arise and be there and say, okay, here they are, here they are. Oh, wow, that's scary. Or, whoa, that's gross. But it doesn't have to ruin our lives, right? Just think about it for a second. So we're a child and we go to school and there's an adult that talks at us for 8 hours a day for 12 years or whatever. We're just sitting there and they're talking at us. And if we try to say something, they say, stop talking. Don't say that. There are only certain things you're allowed to say, and they're the things that I'm telling you. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm not trying to hate on the educational system. And yet, it's like, hey, wait a minute. When I was that young child and I had so much enthusiasm, so much curiosity and energy, and maybe there was something amazing in that. Maybe there was something beautiful, creative. And we look at children and think, oh, well, they have all this beauty and this joy, and we want to be around them all the time. And they give us such inspiration and hope for the world. And yet we program them into not behaving that way. So, wait a minute. We like children and we think they're the hope for the future. And at the same time, instead of nurturing and nourishing all of the spontaneity and creativity that they bring to the table, we're forcing them to sit still and be quiet for the entirety of their upbringing. I don't understand. And I'm not sure if my view of what I just said is really up to date anymore. And maybe nowadays, most public schools are just these places of total openness. And I know that it's difficult, and I know that children are blah, blah, blah. We have all kinds of negative things to say about them, and they're hard to control, and this and that and the other thing. But there's something about this whole project of humanity and how we've decided to do the education of it that makes me wonder, what are we so afraid of? And why are we not allowed to have so many different thoughts that are not acceptable?